All right, so 2022's Weird, the Al Yankovic Story is a Roku original movie, which means basically if you have a phone you can stream streaming services on, or if you have a streaming stick, even if you have Fire TV, if you don't have a Roku stick or whatever you want to call it, you can still download it on Fire TV and watch it. That's how I did it. So it's free to watch with ads. I don't know if there's like a premium version where you don't have to watch the ads, but maybe you get that if you actually have a Roku streaming stick. But yeah, I had to suffer through the ads, especially towards the end there. I had about four 30-second ads, which 2 minutes, man. I mean, it's one thing if it's a show, but when it's a movie, ads are really, really frustrating. Also, there's these stupid flies flying around right now. There's like two of them in my room, just annoying the hell out of me. Um, but yeah, also it's really windy right now. It's only like 7 mile per hour winds. That's not really that fast, but it sounds really loud on my window. So just an explanation on what that background noise is. But yeah, this movie is directed by Eric Apple and written by Eric Apple as well as Weird Al Yankovic. And at times you can kind of tell it's written by two different people, which I'll get into in a bit here. But I do want to talk about the cast, of course. We have Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic. When it comes to actors portraying musicians and other famous people, Daniel Radcliffe doesn't necessarily stand out above the rest for me in terms of his portrayal of the character or the person that he is trying to portray. But at the same time, this movie separates itself so much from reality and what actually goes down, like the actual history of Weird Al and like the things that happen to and around him and the people around him. It changes a lot of that. I looked a lot of it up during the movie. I'm just like, did this really happen? Did this really happen? Not going to get into too many details, but one specific little example is the fact that Weird Al comes up with the weird. I can't talk right now, apparently. It's really late. It's like 3 a.m. I'm sorry. I'm definitely going to bed right after this. I wrapped up the movie a little late, but yeah, he comes up with the song Eat It, and at the time, at least in the movie, that was an original song of his, and then Michael Jackson comes out with Beat It, and I looked it up, and Beat It definitely came out first. What else can I mention here that isn't a huge spoiler? The whole Madonna thing, you actually see that in the trailer. They never actually really dated, according to Weird Al. It was like a platonic friendship, so definitely a lot of stuff in here that was changed from what actually happened. And they do some kind of Tarantino stuff. If you haven't seen a Tarantino movie like Inglourious Bastards or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they kind of change it, or Quentin Tarantino kind of changes around history from what really happened. In this movie, it is a Quentin Tarantino movie doing that times 10. There's moments in here where Weird Al is literally John Wick and is killing people. It literally almost turns into like a Predator movie at one point. By the end there, it kind of turns into a horror movie just a little bit. There's so many different tones and so many different movies inside of this one movie. It very much is a parody movie. So I actually think I wrote something down about that just to keep going with that point. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so very much a parody movie. When I think of parody movies, I think of like Scary Movie or something like that. And a lot of the time, I do not like those types of parody movies. With this, it does it pretty well. There's still really wacky moments and things that just kind of happen. And when it comes to parody movies, I really hate that shit where they're just like doing random shit just to be like shocking or funny or just crude. In this movie, they have a little bit of that, but I think they do it well. They make it fun and they don't make it just completely random. There's times where some of the random and weirdness of this movie is just kind of happens, and I'm like, I didn't really love that. There's one scene in particular involving David Dastmalchian, or David Dastmalchian, I believe is how you say his last name, playing John Deacon from Queen. And man, I kind of wish I didn't give away that little detail there, the little cameo, but there's a lot of other cameos in this movie for sure from other actors that I won't spoil. But there's a scene in there, and I forget exactly what happened after that made me not like it as much. Because I had a big smile on my face when John Deacon came in. It was David Desmalchin. I was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome!" He's like, "I'm John Deacon," and everybody around him was like, "Who?" And I thought that was funny. And then there was, I forget exactly what it was, so forgive me, but there's something that happened after that where my smile just kind of started to fade just a little bit, and I was like, I don't like what they did towards the end of that scene there, but oh well, it's fine. Doesn't really bother me too much. Obviously, I can't remember, so it's not that big of a deal. But there are times in here where it just gets a little too weird for me. Um, but it fits for the movie that's in for sure. But let me look at the beginning of my notes here. Small cameo in the very beginning from Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's the only cameo I'm going to mention here. Well, actually, I have to mention the Weird Al cameo as well. Less of a cameo and a little bit more of a character. Plays kind of like a record producer, something like that. Record label producer. You know what I mean. So it's cool to see Weird Al in this movie as a different character aside from the one, he should be playing, which is himself. But I like how they have Daniel Radcliffe come in here and kind of play a bit of a younger version of him. But yeah, also in the cast, I forgot to mention more of the cast here. We have Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna. Um, Evan Rachel Wood is somebody you might know from the show Westworld, which I believe I watched like the first season, maybe season and a half. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, but she is good in that show, which I heard it's actually getting canceled, unfortunately. Um, well, let me see who else we have here. Julianne Nicholson as Mary Yankovic. There's a funny thing they do with her character in this film where there's a big time gap between Al seeing his mother and, as a younger kid and then seeing her as an adult many years later. And she's fatter. They address it in the movie. She has like a big, I don't even know how to describe it, just like, you know what I mean. Um, and the funny thing about that, and I forget the actress who played her, um, I think it was the one who plays Claire in Jurassic World. Either that or the one. It's either Julianne. No, it's not Julianne Moore. I'm mixing up names here. Um, Shoot, what is her name? I always get actresses mixed up. These two actresses. Um, but it's the one who plays the main girl in Jurassic World. I think she was in Rocket Man. Um, yeah, it was her. She was in Rocket Man playing. And sorry, that took way too long to get to the point. But she was in Rocket Man, played the mother to Elton John, and you see her kind of in her older age, and they do a similar thing where, you can see that she gets fatter, and the prosthetics look really weird on her. Um, and in this movie, the prosthetics look weird too, and I'm just thinking the whole time, I'm like, oh my God, they're literally doing the thing that they did in the Rocket Man movie. I thought that was hilarious. I love the little like small parody things that if you haven't seen those other movies, you might not pick up on it. But for me, who watches a lot of these biopics, I thought that was really hilarious. But hiccups, excuse me. We have Toby Huss as Nick Yankovic, the father to Al Yankovic in the movie. And his character's definitely an asshole, but at the same time, I kind of like Toby Huss, especially his character in Halloween Kills, or not Kills, but Halloween 2018. And there's a scene in there where he's like, "I got peanut butter on my dick" or some shit like that. It was just that's shit like that I remember about certain actors. He was funny in that. I'm sure he's been in a lot of other stuff. I just haven't really seen anything else. But Rainn Wilson is also in this movie as Dr. Demento. At times, his character just feels like Dwight from The Office. But nevertheless, it's good to see Rainn Wilson getting more stuff to do, I guess. We have Will Forte as Ben Scotty and Weird Al Yankovic as Tony Scotty, which I'm guessing those are brothers in the film. Will Forte is hilarious. I love him. He's a great comedic actor. And let's get into some of these. I'm not gonna get into all of them. Um, I don't know. Do I want to get into all of them? Let's. You know what? I'm gonna not mention the cameos in here and leave that for you guys for the movie if you do decide to watch it. If you haven't already watched it already, so let's just end it there. That's enough of the cast. Oh my god, there's so many crazy cameos and characters that show up in this movie. It's insane. But this is a Funny or Die production, which if you don't know what Funny or Die is, I don't know the exact origin of it, but I remember seeing a lot of YouTube videos by Funny or Die growing up on YouTube. It was on there relatively early, when it was made or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. Just something I wrote down there. I was like, huh, I didn't know they made movies or produced movies. Um, but yeah, there are ads. I said confirmed there are ads in this movie. Um, Immediately, first like 10 minutes in, I was just like, all right, I'm having fun. It's a funny, really funny movie. I'd recommend it just for the comedy alone. There's so many random and hilarious things that happen in there, and just so many lines in there that just kill me. They fucking kill me. They're hilarious. There's one in particular where the mom is like, and I think they said it in the trailer, but it's still so funny. She's just like, um, your father and I think it's for the best that you like, and I'm paraphrasing, but like give up on your dreams and stop doing what you like. I'm just like, oh my god, yeah, that's that's a great line there. I love that one. But there's so many fucking funny lines in this movie, and so many funny things that happen, so many crazy things that happen that when you start to realize what's happening, you're like, oh my fucking god, what are they doing right now? And when you think it can't get any crazier, it does. But Daniel Radcliffe, I do think, does a really great job in this role. Do I completely buy him as Weird Al? Not fully, but do I only see Harry Potter when I see him in this role? Not at all. In fact, far from it. A lot of people with actors like that grew up playing iconic roles or have played iconic roles in the past and haven't done as much since. Oftentimes, just see that one character that they played. For this here, I didn't see a hint of Harry Potter, even with the glasses, you know. So I can appreciate that from him. I think he's a great actor. I haven't seen a whole lot of what he's done outside of Harry Potter, but there's one in particular called Horns that I do want to check out. Comment down below if you've seen that and tell me if it's a good one and if I should check it out and review it. But yeah, let me see here. A slight problem with all the parody aspects in this film is that you never know when the film is being genuine about actual things that happened to Weird Al. So pretty much everything in this movie you kind of feel like you have to take with a grain of salt. And that's one kind of problem when it comes to comedy movies in general, or like, sitcoms or anything with comedy. Mainly with shows, not like stand up or anything like that, but mainly with shows is I don't like when a comedy is just a straight up comedy and doesn't have any genuine moments of just pure humanity. Like I like to have those pure moments. And in this movie, they don't do that for a while, but then when you get towards the end, there are some more heartfelt moments that actually did quite touch me. Didn't make me cry or anything, but and plus I'm an easy crier, so nothing that like drew or tugged on the heartstrings too hard, but um yeah, for the most part in this movie, a lot of it's just it's hard to take. Well, I wouldn't say it's hard to take it seriously because you're not really supposed to take it seriously. There's even a little clip they play right before the movie where Weird Al himself, not as Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al, but actual Weird Al comes on the screen and says, "Hey, this is a movie, and it's all definitely true." He's basically like giving a little hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink kind of thing, saying most of this is probably false. And looking it up during the movie, most of this is false. And I think I might have mentioned that before, but the whole Madonna being the girlfriend thing, not actually real. There's moments in here where he literally becomes an action movie hero, not real, obviously. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens, and also they do stuff with time periods where I'm just like, was Weird Al even like doing anything at this time? Would he even be interacting with these characters? And at the end of the movie, in the credits, they start showing like pictures of Weird Al, the real Weird Al, him growing up and whatnot, and different pictures of him. And then they show moments of him with like the Beatles and Elvis and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, you never met the Beatles or Elvis, but um, yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing and a really fun thing about this movie that most of it is probably just completely made up, but at the same time, it's hard to take things like, you know what I mean? I already said not to take things seriously with this movie, but at the same time, it's hard to know. I mean, you guys know what I mean at this point. I just can't really explain what I mean. In fact, while watching this movie, I knew that there was something kind of holding me back, and I just didn't really know what it was. Um, but overall, not a bad film. I think there's a lot more they probably could have done with it, but it's a crazy one for sure. Is it going to be on my top 10 of this year? Not at all. Is it going to be on my top 10 worst? Not at all. It's just kind of one of those movies that I watch, enjoy, and don't really feel any huge desire to go back to. But I appreciate the filmmakers here and the writers and Weird Al for bringing such a fun story to the screen and making it available to people and not making them have to pay for it. So I think that is very cool. Daniel Radcliffe, great job. I think he had a lot of fun with this role for sure. In fact, everybody in this movie seemed like they were having a lot of fun. And at the end of the end, I can't talk. It's super late. Again, forgive me. At the end of the day, that's what this movie really is supposed to be. It's supposed to be weird. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be fun. And I think they delivered on all of that. So overall, I think I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10 seems fair. That's what I give a lot of movies these days. That 7 out of 10 is kind of like my point where I'm like, all right, the movie is good. It's fun. It does what it needs to do, but it doesn't like completely blow me away. So 7 seems fair. But have you seen Weird, the Al Yankovic Story? What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? I definitely enjoyed it, but I didn't love it by any means. And have you not seen this movie? Are you planning on watching it? Why or why not? I'd love to know. Comment down below. Really, anything you want to talk about in the comments down below. I'd just love to hear from you guys. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I should be back in the next video to review Ticket to Paradise. See you later.